There's a moment, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, where you wake up in the morning and for about 3 seconds, everything is normal. And then it hits you. The other side of the bed is empty. And that 3 seconds of normal becomes the hardest part of the whole day. I'm Ron, Simplified Myers. This is Rewrite the Story, the podcast for men who are navigating life after the loss of a spouse or committed partner. If nobody around you really gets what you're going through right now, I want you to know this. I get it because I've lived it. Today, I want to talk about that story, the one you carry the moment you open your eyes. Because most men I speak to aren't struggling with grief in the way people expect. They're struggling with the story that plays on repeat every single morning. And that story is the thing we need to change. What those first mornings felt like after losing Terry. Not the funeral, not the logistics, the ordinary morning moments, the silence, the weight of a house that used to be full. At some point, I realized it wasn't just grief I was carrying a story. The story was, this is who I am now. A man alone. A man who lost a major part of his world. And that story was making every morning harder than it needed to be. And I know some of you listening right now are in that exact place. Maybe it's been 6 months. Maybe it's been 4 years. The timeline doesn't matter as much as the story you're telling yourself every single morning when you open your eyes. Part 1. The story most men are carrying sounds like one of these. I'll never feel normal again. I don't know who I am without her. I miss my chance at love. Take a moment and ask yourself, which one is yours? You can't rewrite a story you haven't named yet. Part 2, where the story came from. That story is not the truth. It is your mind trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. Grief writes stories because stories give us a framework when reality feels chaotic. The story isn't a character flaw. It's your brain doing its job. But you don't have to keep reading the same chapter forever. Part 3, the rewrite. Rewriting doesn't mean pretending she didn't exist. Rewriting doesn't mean moving on. Rewriting means adding a new sentence to the story. Something like, I am a man who loved deeply, and that love shaped everything I am. And I am still here. And there is still more story to write. Tomorrow morning, before you get out of bed, I want you to try something. Instead of letting the story play automatically, I want you to write one sentence. You can say it out loud or write it down. Just one sentence that begins with the words, I am still. Not I was. Not I used to be. I am still. Let what comes after that be whatever is true for you right now. Because every story that gets rewritten starts with a single new sentence. Not a chapter. Not a resolution. One sentence. That's all I'm asking you to try. If this episode hit home for you, if you heard yourself in something I said today, I want you to know you're not alone in this. There are men all over this country carrying the exact same weight every morning, and they're finding their way through. You will too. My book, Simplified, Rewrite the Story, was written for this moment, for men like you who are ready to start adding new sentences to the story. It's available right now at simplifieduplifterspublishing.com. I'll also put the link in the description. Until next time, I'm Ron Simplified Myers. Keep going, keep rewriting. And most important, remember, you are extraordinary.